And look at this rotation on the north side of Kingston Springs. Is this Highway 70?
The roof is completely ripped off of this home. As you can see, the fire department now trying to get in here and see if anybody is inside.
It's terrible. I just ain't never seen nothing like it.
Overcome with tears, the last few hours for Shirley Gillespie have felt like an eternity. She drove up from Tennessee after she heard a tornado rip through Mayfield. Walking nearly 2 miles to her brother's house, the sounds coming from the neighborhood will stay with her forever.
I heard people hollering, let me out, get me out. They were trapped under the debris.
The upstairs is gone, her family's cars mangled, but miraculously,
even though with all the damage, it was 9 people in this house, not a scratch on not one of them. God still put his arms around them. That's enough for us.
While Shirley's family is safe, Darryl Johnson fears for his sister, who was working at the candle factory when the tornado struck.
He said that she called him at around 9-something, maybe 9:30, and said, "Honey, it's storming here bad and everything." And I think the response was like the roof had come off.
Since then, nothing.
It's been several hours. I can't tell you how long, but it's tragic.
He's called every hospital and is losing hope.
She's all I got left. I lost my brother 4 years ago in a unfortunate matter, and now, it's what I got, man.
What a heartbreaking story.
I mean, there's no other word to describe it, Marcus. This family's life was turned completely upside down in a matter of minutes. And Ryan and Riley's parents tell me, and you'll understand why when you watch the story, that it is a miracle any of them survived.
Oh, they was always smiling.
Their parents say Ryan and Riley were happy babies.
And my little Bubba, man, he smiled nonstop, and he could say Bubba. She started crawling on Friday. She crawled for the first time.
At just 7 months old, they leaned on each other.
They was always smiling. They only cried when you separated them.
They was attached to each other like nothing else.
Matthew Rigney and Danielle Hall believe they would have drowned in their sleep if it weren't for the sound of their transformer blowing just before 6 Saturday morning.
Before we all got up and got ready, water was coming in the house.
Danielle left to get help, grabbing onto floating debris and making it not 1,000 feet from their home.
The water just took me, and the only thing I could hang on to was a tree. I'm not joking, the tree was only this big around.
She would be there 6 hours until help arrived. Back at their home, Rigney says it filled with water within minutes, trapping them in the back bedroom.
We tried to get out the window, but the water was coming in so fast, we couldn't even get out of our bedroom window.
He clung to all 4 of his children, the water now just a foot from the ceiling.
Yes, I had her on my neck. I had my 1-year-old right here on my hip, and I had my twins like this, kind of grasping onto my 1-year-old. And when the water hit and the room filled up, and that's when I lost them. I lost all of them.
His 5- and 1-year-old daughters came back up.
She swam up like a big girl, and I grabbed her. I see Brayla across the room, and she's flapping her arms. I couldn't find the twins nowhere.
The twins never did.
It was the worst experience I've ever had.
As Rigney struggled to keep his daughters above the still rising water, a neighbor climbed onto their roof just in time.
If he wouldn't have helped us get on the roof, I don't even know where we'd be at right now.
It was hours later that Rigney and Hall would receive the news that the twins had been found.
And that was the best news we got when we found out they was found together. They didn't leave each other's side.
It's how Rigney and Hall know Waverly will get through this, too.
When you go through this, you feel like you're alone and you don't know what to do. But there is so many people, so many angels that are watching over all of us. My baby's made an impact on this world.
Carly Gordon is live in Bellevue. It looks at least clear on that road behind you, but you're talking about neighborhoods that have a different story. You are exactly right. This is Highway 70. You can see it looks great. Yesterday it was covered in slushy snow. Now it is very drivable, but if you turn the corner with me, you'll see, like you said, the neighborhood's a different story. Many drivers thought their cars could handle the conditions. They quickly found out they were wrong.
It's a fine hill for sledding, but for driving, not so much.
Well, the black ice just got everybody, and just like in a matter of an hour and a half, they had 4 crashes.
This car landed upside down in Bill Calhoun's driveway.
Yeah, oh my God, is everyone okay?
Miraculously, the driver walked away.
I was surprised that God, it's good to be young, I guess. There was glass. Obviously, the airbags had gone off.
Further down, another failed attempt.
A car slid down and about 20 feet from me hit the pole of my neighbor's yard.
And you can imagine how Carlin Alford feels living at the bottom, knowing another car could come crashing in at any moment.
To keep from getting in trouble with my wife, I'll just say that my son has been relocated to a different part of the house to sleep at night for right now, till the snow melts.
Just moments after the SWAT team arrived in force, Tarek Menturi was in handcuffs, charged with 17 counts, including rape and sexual battery. Do you have anything you want to say?
Do you have any shoes?
Do I have any shoes? Not long after the arrest, we told Peyton Parker the news. I am telling you today that Tarek Menturi was charged with rape, kidnapping, and sexual battery.
Oh, I don't want to curse. Oh my God, are you serious?
I am serious.
I'm shaking. Wow.
And you were the first one, you were the first woman to come forward to us and tell us this.
Yeah.
He faces 17 counts of criminal charges.
I'm speechless. I don't know. Thank you for taking the story and not giving up. And I want to say thank you to all the other women who came forward with me.
Parker is among the 18 women who've told News 4 Investigates Menturi sexually touched them or himself during massages or job interviews. The rape and kidnapping charges stem from a woman who told us he held her down and forced her to perform a sex act on him.
I think he's a dangerous person. He's a predator.
Now to a story you'll only see here on 4. For the first time, members of the Remnant Fellowship Church are talking since that crash happened. And they agreed to speak with our Marissa Sulik. And Marissa, tragic, but how are they handling this right now?
I mean, they are definitely going through a lot right now, Marius. And the couple I spoke with today say that the deceased weren't just their fellow church members. They considered them family. In fact, they live right down the road from Gwen and Joe Lara, who they say influenced them to move to Tennessee from Texas 10 years ago.
So you've got to ask yourself again, what makes you happy?
Within moments, it becomes obvious how Gwen Lara impacted Tiffany and Rob Day.
Just became best friends. She was best friends with all of us. It's, easy for the entire church. It's easy for a congregation to all know one pastor. But our pastor, she knew each of us by name. She knew our dogs' names. She knew our children, our grandchildren's names.
You can prove it that you've turned to God.
Lara not only founded this church, but the Way Down Workshop. A following met with years of controversy from those outside the congregation. But to Tiffany and Rob, that didn't matter.
And thankfully for the perseverance of Tiffany wanting to pursue it, it forced me to have to pursue it because my wife's going to be involved with this church. It's going to have controversies. I want to know what it's about. And that's what caused me to come over and fly from Texas or drive from Texas almost a couple times a month. And what I heard did not match up with what I saw.
The couple became so involved, they moved from Texas to Brentwood to raise their 5 children, living just down the street from Gwen and Joe Lara. Even with the loss of the Laras and the 5 other members of their church family, the Day Save Faith is pulling them through.
When I think of, the 7 people, it's a tragedy of what happened, but everyone who knew them, their lives were changed as a result of the lives that they lived. Gwen always taught us that you're not promised tomorrow. I guarantee you every single one of us understands that more than we ever did, 2 days ago, which I think is going to propel us to do more with each day we're given. And so we'll be stronger.
A stronger and a more unified congregation that will live on thanks to its foundation.
Now, it's important to note that these families all leave behind children and grandchildren. Jessica and Jonathan Walters are 2 victims in the crash who have 3 young kids.
3 people were shot. The gunman shot and killed by police. It happened at the Smile Direct Club in Antioch. That is where we find News 4's Carly Gordon this afternoon. Carly, this had to be traumatizing for everyone involved.
Oh, can you imagine? It happened at just around 6 o'clock this morning. Some people were wrapping up for the day. Others were just starting to show up here to do their jobs. That's when the gunman, an employee, showed up to the building you see behind me and opened fire. As for why, well, as of this afternoon, we still don't know. Now, that gunman is 22-year-old Antonio King, according to police. He lived in Nashville and hadn't been working at Smile Direct Club for very long at all, just a few months. This morning, he walked in with a semi-automatic pistol with an extended magazine. He shot 2 armed security guards and an employee before leaving the building. We spoke to an employee that was there at the time. He says he grabbed his wife's hand, ran to the first exit he could find, and then headed into the nearby woods for cover. His wife ended up having to go to the hospital because she hurt her leg while trying to get away. He says the situation was absolutely terrifying.
We never thought that this is going to happen. I mean, it's just like unbelievable. I mean, this is like a nightmare, I mean, for us. We never thought this was going to happen.
Police caught up with the gunman, Antonio King, at the intersection of Antioch Pike and Franklin Limestone Road. They say when King refused to drop the gun, 2 officers shot and killed him. Now, again, this all happened at 6 o'clock this morning, and police were still here an hour ago. They say that there were a ton of shell casings by the door, so this scene took a long time to process.
We began with News 4's Carice Jackman. And Carice, you were inside the courtroom when all this played out, so walk us through what happened.
Yeah, Holly, intense is putting in mildly what happened inside of the courtroom, as a lot of people came up to give their statements, first with Delky, then with the attorney, Joy Kimbrough, for the family of Daniel Hambrick, and then after that is when the mother came up just talking about the injustice that she feels this plea agreement was. Now, Delky pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter and will serve a full 3-year sentence and no petition for early release. The courtroom read the plea deal agreement. Delky then read his statement saying he apologizes to the Hambrick family. He admitted that he was wrong and his use of force was not necessary, and hopes that the family of Daniel Hambrick will accept his apology. Joy Kimbrough, the Hambrick family attorney, then read a very lengthy statement from the Hambricks stating that they do not accept his apology and also felt that the entire plea agreement was taken without their discussion or input. They also asked Judge Watkins not to accept this deal. Of course, in the end, he did accept the deal. Now, after that is when things really got heated, when Vicki Hambrick, the mother of Daniel Hambrick, came up to the podium saying she does not accept his apology at all and that he can, quote, go to hell. Take a listen.
I've been going through this for 3 years. I can't believe it.
Yes. Take your time.
John,
Take your time.
I lost my mother. I lost my grandmother. I lost my father. My father had a stroke and a heart attack. I can't believe it. Because of you. Because of you. I lost my son's father because of you.
Again, as we've been saying all morning, a very, very emotional day in court for that hearing.
You just never know when it's going to be your day to face something like that.
For the Nashville Six, it was Christmas 2020. Video from their body cameras show how things quickly go from being alarming.
That's so weird. That's like out of a movie.
Like The Purge?
Yeah.
To horrifying.
No, my God.
Where's your car? Okay, go to your car.
There's that part of me that didn't want it to be real. Like, we're hearing this voice saying that there's a bomb that's going to go off, but I'm trying to tell myself someone's playing a really bad prank.
It's been an interesting year since that devastating day. The officers constantly hailed as heroes in front of dignitaries. They've been flown to D.C. and painted on a mural downtown.
We joke around, says it's been like a band. So, and Don is our manager.
And the growth they've experienced, it's both personal and professional. Officer Michael Sipos is planning a wedding. Officer Tyler Llewellyn got promoted. Still, the year hasn't been without its challenges.
Hearing on his body cam, I'm the one screaming on the radio for James because I didn't know if he was alive. And that 10-second period of not knowing that is still really hard, and that's the emotional response I'll probably always have. And I still can't really go up there.
Difficult as it may be, they're all back, working a range of shifts at various precincts. In fact, a few of them volunteered to work Christmas Day. So once again, they'll be out keeping Nashville safe. As for why, the Nashville Six will tell you.
Because we still have jobs to do.
It's what they signed up for.
Work is still work. You know, we still answer calls. We don't expect to be treated any different.
It was part of the job. I'm thankful we're all here and that we can move forward.